Good morning. There's a question about fun. What constitutes fun? There's usually easy answers for that sort of thing, right? Laughing, jokes. There's activities. Fun can be playing billiards, pool, right? Going to the beach, going fishing, going hiking, whatever people are into. It's unique. Sometimes people find things that are fun that they don't even realize that it's fun. They just know that it's something that they do. And they don't, like me, analyze why something is fun. My fun is unpacking anything, concept, tearing things apart, like disassembling, I remember I got a Christmas gift. It was Hulk themed, like small tabletop pinball. Cheap, not cheap, but one of those kind of gimmicky Christmas presents, you get a kid. I was already kind of technical, but we didn't have a computer at that point, so pretty much had to make do with tinkering with a screwdriver. And I played that thing for a while. And one summer, I got the wise idea to count how many of those little marbles are in there, how many pinball balls are in the pinball machine. And the reason why that even came up was, as you're playing, bing, 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 the machine would sometimes win you a free pinball. So they would just pop up and you'd have 2, maybe 3 going at the same time, and there would be a 4th one ready to, throw into the machine. I could see into it that there was at least one more behind it ready to go. So, curious kid, what's the obvious question? How many pinballs are in the machine? Well, you can't really flip it over and shake them out. That doesn't really work. I tried. So I get the screwdriver out, start taking it apart. Every screw I can find, I was taking them out. I must have had like 40 screws, and it still wouldn't open. The contraption was locked, kind of. So you do the sticker scratch thing where you try and find, maybe there's a hidden screw, and I found a couple of those, took them out. And through the course of this process, the plastic top that you look through came off. Okay, well, since we're tearing this thing apart, why don't we go all the way? So I start, forcing the it was like a purple plastic, but there were sandwiches like this, 2 pieces, and the board was in the middle. Glass, plastic, see-through thing on the top. Finally get the whole thing apart. The board comes out, and there's this funnel-looking V-shape imprint, or not imprint, but indentation where the marbles would, collect and then fall down. So if they ever went through one of the, you lose ports on the board, that would go down and then it would get cycled into the machine. So I had wagered there'd be like 7 or 8 in total in the machine. And even, shaking it before I opened it, you couldn't tell through sound how many were in there. You knew there was a couple, but pop the top, get all the components out, start looking in there, and there's a tube that all of the marbles were lined up in. And so I finally get it open. I really, really hate my neighbors with their loud devices, cars or whatever. And there was like 20 of them. Wow, that's surprising. I never would have thought there would be so many. And I, to this day, still don't know why there would be that many, but I guess that's how they make them. And the joy, the pleasure of the discovery process, the result, the sequence, the engagement, the world around me was gone while I was solving this puzzle. How many marbles are in the machine? And it was not the first event, of course, but that's one that sticks out. And for me, that's fun. Non-threatening, destructive techniques. I feel like if I ever went to one of those places where they give you, you pay $10 or whatever, they give you the protective equipment and a baseball bat, and they send you off into the room so you can beat stuff with the baseball bat, glass or whatever. I feel like I would enjoy it too much. And I have a fear that because I would enjoy it, that's why I don't do it. Writing is a puzzle. I like puzzles. Programming is a puzzle. I like programming because I like puzzles. I like unpacking why things work, understanding how an LLM works. These are all things that I wish I knew more about and how to do. And that's, for me, fun. Throwing curveballs at the universe is fun. Apologies for the break in recording again. I have many life events that I need to take care of sometimes, and yeah, so throwing curveballs at the universe, I've learned that it likes to play too. And it's like almost a love-hate with the universe, because for as much as I'm a devious, little kid, so to speak, with the universe, and I've had my moments, but I tend to think of those kinds of interruptions, like the break here, as the universe playing back. And it's a duality, right? This is the game. This is the intent of the game. And from yesterday's little talk that I was doing, there's, an outward delivery that your internal thoughts produce a physical reaction to the reality around you. And that creates the ripples and things that change the universe, or, update it, or contribute to it, whatever verbiage you want to use for that. But those ripples have impact, and they go around, and maybe someone else somewhere out there is providing their own ripples, and they're reaching me, and so on. But the dynamic of how those two systems talk is through that physical medium, through random interruptions of what I like to call life events, through my neighbors randomly driving by, which they're not doing right now, but I expect them to be driving back soon. And when you parse the connections between those things, you realize it's like a trait. And, you know, I'm not doing any liquid bread or anything today, but that's not a usual habit. But the trade, there's a mental state, obviously a physical reaction that the body has when it's consuming, you know, a beverage like that. There's a reaction and consequences, and this is sort of the statement, right? Actions and consequences, and there goes my neighbors again. And if you can think about like a grid, and every point where the grid has two lines connecting in a little cross, right, where they cross over each other and they make a square. At the point of intersection where those two lines cross, I call that a node. And if you can imagine a node array, like a whole bunch of them, when you ripple one and you watch it go through, kind of like this, it goes through the entire sheet. Like when you drop something in water, the ripples come out. The physical reactions that go out into the world do that to the physical nature, to the reality, to objects. And then those objects are changed just so slightly. And then that object that is now changed changes another object, and another, and another, and another, and another. And the ripples eventually reach me, for example, or maybe consequently have created a situation where my neighbors have decided that it's a great idea to drive up and down the road and show off their brand new muffler that makes crazy sounds, or whatever. And that's in this 3D plane of reality, this level of existence. So, puzzle, right? How does that work? How do these things connect? How do these things communicate? How do these things interact? And I mean, we can talk thermal dynamics and laws of physics and whatever, right? But fundamentally, this is fun for me. This is where my brain really enjoys working on these things. I don't want to use the word torture because it wasn't torture, but growing up I was essentially just reading encyclopedias all day. Like, I mean, not punishment, it was just, there was nothing else to do. So I'm not an outside kid. So that's what you do, you read. Eventually, there's another question, and then another question, and then another question, and you keep answering it, and another one comes up. Sometimes 2, 10, 50 questions. And then when you get through all of the upper layers, you end up somewhere where it's like quantum physics, or that lower level content. Like, and when I say lower level, I mean like tiny. And then you get down to like the Planck length, like the smallest unit of whatever, right? Like that we can measure or that we think exists. Okay, great. So where does that come from? And so again, I arrive in my own thinking back at my little grid example. When you read through that content, you realize, okay, well, an electron or proton or whatever, like an atom, can exist in like multiple places, or electrons and whatever particle, I don't remember the name of it, but it like blinks in and out of existence like 1 trillion times a second or something. Like, it's ridiculous, right? But when you accept that, and then you overlay on that the potential that when it disappears, it has to go somewhere. There is no loss, right? Like, this is conservation of energy. Like, you just cannot cease and then reappear again. Like that has to go somewhere. It disappears into something somewhere. And there's different potentials. There go my neighbors again. There's different potentials. It could potentially stay in this layer of reality and it blinks in and out of existence in two different places in the universe, or maybe it goes into a different, layer of reality, another dimension, a different, Earth 1, Earth 2 situation. And I feel like it's not probably proven, and I'm probably sounding like a crazy person, but those waves I was talking about, when you have an impact out in the world, affects those particles that blink in and out of reality, that go into a different dimension, that probably have an effect there, that then changes something there, that then reflects back because it waves through that reality and then ends up back here. And I have no proof for any of that. I'm not like a physicist or whatever they're called that study particles, right? But particle physicist. But you do your deductive reasoning and your inductive reasoning and inferences, and you do a little bit of philosophy class, and you read a lot of encyclopedias, and suddenly it's like, chaos. And that's what makes sense to me. And that's what's fun. It's trying to figure that out. Beyond that, I have to call out Mitch Hedberg, Stephen Wright, top favorite comedians. Deadpan comedy, absolutely love it. Dry humor, absolutely love it. For both of those together, I mean, I have a very dark sense of humor generally, but I do love a good punchline. One-liner jokes are the pinnacle of the kinds of humor that I like. But is it fun? Is that fun? The benign violation, is that fun? It tickles something in the brain. And that's the thing that I seek more than like a joke. I try to find things that make that tickling occur the same way that a benign violation does. And I'm very introspective, but things like what the Buddha would talk about with like, compassion and what do they call it? I forget the word, but it's like there's no property ownership, like you don't own anything. So like all these principles, right? And the humor in it, the benign violation occurs when there's an equilibrium. So it's fun, it's funny, it's hilarious when things balance. Or, when two things fit together is fun. So obviously, like the big thing is like yin yang or whatever, right? Like that's one. But there could be other things like the perfect fit for a tree in a garden, or when nature sings, right? The little bird flies into his nest or whatever, and like the witnessing of this harmony, right? This is funny. This is fun. The observation that this presentation, as fake as it is arbitrated through reality. So there's this duality of fake and real simultaneously. There's a real person in this puppet, but you don't see them. I do. The reality of what these orbs represent is the transitioning or the transit of sound. Right? You're hearing me speak. These orbs are coming out, and you're witnessing that. Yeah. And I had a bit of a think, and I remember the first meditation I ever had. And I'll close with a brief story on that because I have a little editing to do apparently now. I hate editing, by the way. That's why I try to do these in one take, but I have a new solution I'm going to try, so we'll see how that goes. But I don't remember the year, though. That's unfortunate. I think it would have been probably 2008, maybe 2009. First time ever meditating. It was a class in college, like some kind of health class thing, and like the module every week was like a new theme. So this week was like meditation, yoga, that sort of theme for the week. And the activity, I think, for whatever reason, it was a Wednesday. But anyway, so you go to class, and it was an hour-long class. So the teacher had set it up so that like the first 15-20 minutes we'd be in the room studying and whatever lecture, and then we went into like a gym area, like a gymnastic kind of space. So there's no equipment, it's just the mat on the floor. So she brings us in there and she tells us, find a spot, lay down, and I'll never forget, she was like, put your palms up. I'm like, but this is uncomfortable. She's like, do it. No, she wasn't mean, but it was funny. And she's like, just get comfortable, get a pillow or whatever if you need it. And I'm just like, I'm thinking about work because I have to go to work after. And she just gives a quick brief. She's like, this is a 30-minute guided meditation. I'm like, I don't know. And through the class you learn, okay, this is meditation, this is what you're supposed to do. And so I lay there and like close your eyes and you start listening to this little story take place. And I don't remember the whole story, but it's like, you're walking through the woods and then like you turn into an orb of light and then you go floating around on an adventure, right? And when the story stops, this guided meditation was like probably 5 or 10 minutes of talk through or talk down, and then just the music, the sounds of the environment, with the standard, oral choir type music here. And then there's the bell, and then everybody wakes up. And I remember I was like, I took a nap. Like I was like, this is crazy. What? I don't understand meditation. So that was my first experience with that, and I didn't try it again for a long time. And then the next time I had like seriously tried it, I did the thing like, you get all stiff and you lay down and you're like, I'm gonna meditate. And so I put on I needed the guidance at first because I didn't understand what I was doing. And just tried it, half hour, and then you end up trying the ones where there's like no guidance. And that's where I really started to find that silence that I was after. Because once the brain quiets down, the focus is unprecedented. There's nothing like it when that brain is quiet. And it's such an easy thing for me to get into now. I never had that before. It's the most calming requirement, I guess, at this point. But what's fun is being in a state of meditation and continuing normal activities of life, going to work, coming home, making food, going outside, whatever, right? Like, to be there, because when you witness yourself witnessing the world, that experience is unlike anything. You're practically, well, not practically, I guess you are watching a movie, and then you land back inside of your own mind and you're in the present again, and you go, what the hell? So that's fun. That's what I enjoy. And if you do it right, I'm still practicing this part, so I am by no means an expert on anything I'm about to say. Because I've never successfully done like a true astral projection where I'm like consciously outside of the body, like with intent, I guess, like lucidly astral projection. But if you do it right, those brain waves of thought that you have, in a manner of speaking, produce heat, sound, vibrations, waves that ripple out. And even though I strongly side with the requirement to perform an act, there's room through focused intent to produce an effect. And I think through that mechanism you can communicate. Maybe not directly, like you can't like read a book to somebody, but for the very subtle essence of like contributing a feeling or a state of mind or an emotion, or maybe like the reward mechanism, right? Like the same chemicals that we respond to. So the serotonins, the dopamines, the oxytocins of, normal life, norepinephrine, like if you're angry, you can mimic the signals that those chemicals bring in the brain and then send them out. And a good case study that I would recommend, I don't know where it's gotten to, I'm just paraphrasing what I remember, but supposedly there was like an island, some monkeys on the island or whatever, and they were like washing their potatoes or something, and they would like dunk it in the ocean and rinse it off or whatever, and then they'd eat it. I don't know if it was potatoes, like bananas or something, some fruit or whatever. But there were two islands, completely separate species or whatever. Might have been the same species, but they were separate enough that like the one island was not capable of like communicating to the other island to wash your potato. And then just randomly, supposedly randomly anyway, the monkeys on the other island just started washing the potatoes. Just because. And humans do that too. And I think we share memes and the culture online in a way that it's like the electrical signals in the synapses, that these are how the neurons talk, but then the chemical response is the physical response. So you have to meet in person, you have to go for coffee, you have to go to work, go to school, go home, go out, go to the beach or whatever, and like physical chemicals in the brain, neurons will react that way. The clusters of themes, you can watch them migrate through the internet, and they talk about virality, right? This is when there's in your mind, like you have a new idea, a bright new idea, there's a flash of aha. The viral moment in online culture is very similar to that. It's almost the same. It's not synthetic. It's what's the right word? Like a shockwave. Like it's almost an intentional expression. So this monkey starts washing the potato. This one, not having seen it before, receives the message. And that means that if it's true on the internet, a person over here can have an idea. And suddenly someone else does too.